Yeah, perfect. Good. Are they organized by size?
They are medium, large, extra large, extra medium.
I'll take it.
They are adult sizes, but they do.
Hello, everyone. I'll do the large.
This one's a large.
That's a large.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So happy to have you here. My name is Cecilia Rico. I'm an EDI educator, and I've been living in Houston since 2006. And I work with children in a program that's called the Shine Club, which provides kids in the school to help them build self-confidence. And I also have a local TV show on Coach Co Cable, and I do training around equity and diversity. So today, my role is to be your MC. So it's so wonderful to see this wonderful group of people. I'm excited to introduce all the wonderful program that we're having today. And so welcome officially to the Limestone District School Board Black History Month opening ceremonies. And I'm going to pass it on to Andrea Barrow. She's the Equity and Inclusion Consultant for the Limestone District School Board and has been with the board for over 15 years and has been an essential part of working with students to pull this event together. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you, Ophelia. I want to send a thank you to the students who are here as well. So we've got Sakai, Nandi, Jada, Malachi, Miles is somewhere else as well. So they've worked with me closely over the past couple of months to pull this all together, keeping in mind that they just had exams as well. So still in touch over the exam break. So I'm going to start off with the land acknowledgement, and then I want to acknowledge someone else's face as well. So I wish to acknowledge that we're situated on the traditional land of the Haudenosaunee. To recognize the traditional territory is to acknowledge its longer history, one predating the establishment of the earliest European colonies. The first people called the land Cataraqui, meaning meeting place of the flat rocks. As we meet, may we ever be mindful of the significance of this land to the indigenous peoples who lived and continue to live on the land. Peoples whose practices and spiritualities are tied to this land and continue to develop on the land along with other inhabitants. We cannot sincerely express gratitude and respect for the land, the water, the animals, and the first people of this land if we do nothing to disrupt anti-indigenous racism or allow land theft to remain normalized. We must say no to anti-indigenous racism, no to anti-black racism, no to anti-Asian racism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, white supremacy, and all forms of discrimination. We must always remain vigilant and ready to use the privilege we may have to support and uplift those without. I therefore encourage one and all to consider your position on this land and how we can work to help decolonize our institutions and our minds. For real change to happen, we must dismantle what has been built. When we respect the inherent human and treaty rights of the indigenous peoples, we are in a right relationship with this land. So with that land acknowledgement, that's actually from Judith Brown. And she shared that a couple of years ago, so it probably sounds a little familiar. So I'm not plagiarizing, I'm giving credit where credit is due. Yes, because it's rightfully due. I thought you would recognize that, that's perfect. And I'm glad that you're here. So for those who don't know, Trustee Judith Brown is sitting here as well. And she's been with the school board for quite a while, but before as an educator and now as a trustee. And I just want to read a little bit in terms of her background, because we're here today because of the work that she's done for this board and for our students and for our staff, and she continues to do as a trustee. So Judith, who faced incidents of racism as a teacher in the past, brought a motion forward to the board as a trustee in 2020 in support of the student trustee at the time. It read, the strategic plan for 2020 to 2021 incorporate anti-Black racism and anti-Indigenous racism as a key area to focus to demonstrate the work being completed, including key initiatives and performance indicators. The motion passed unanimously and became a component of the LDSB Equity Action Plan, which includes measures such as literacy reviews, anti-racism resources, professional development for staff, and the bolstering of equity, diversity, and inclusion measures, and recruitment and retention in the board. So she's been a champion and continues to be a champion within the Black community as well. I want to personally thank you for all the work that you've done and the road that you've paved, because I don't feel like I would be standing here as a Black educator in Kingston if you had not done the work that you've done before. So thank you, Judith.
We all could not have been here without our ancestors and the work that they have done. So I also want to thank Judith for all the work that she's done and continue to teach us. I'd like to introduce Margaret Conley, the LCBI principal, who's going to do a welcome on behalf of LCBI.
Good afternoon. We are pleased to welcome each one of you here. We are delighted to host the opening ceremonies of Black History Month here at LCBI. This month is a time to celebrate Black culture and history and applaud the achievements and the significant contributions of Black Canadians. And I also want to give a shout out to our amazing student leaders here sitting near the front who helped plan the opening ceremonies today, as well as other upcoming events planned this month. Our students are the future of this work, and they inspire us with their commitment to amplify Black voices not only this month, but year-round, and their desire to take action for meaningful change. Just a couple of logistics. We have got washrooms just on either side of the cafeteria here. Girls' washroom on this side, boys, and then an inclusive, accessible washroom closer to the gym. Once again, we welcome you to LCBI. We hope you enjoy your afternoon and feel at home here.
Thank you so much. Now, we wouldn't have been here without also the students. And sometimes we hear stories about how our young people, they're not doing the things. So I am so excited. The last time I was here was for a diversity dinner, and I got to meet some some students who were doing amazing things. And today I have the pleasure of introducing Sakai Chigozi. Sakai is recognized for amplifying the voices of Black and racialized students and creating space for their experience in the school environment. She planned several activities during Black History and Futures Month in February, including a hair workshop led by Black hairdressers for students in the Limestone District School Board. Recognizing the importance of hearing from fellow community members, Sakai also organized Black Panel of Excellence event and moderated the discussion for her peers. She's planning future events for other schools and hopes to create culturally affirming spaces for Black and racialized students across Kingston. She's here to share about her fellow students and how they collaborated to bring this event. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming this evening. My name is Sakai Chigozi, as Ophelia mentioned, and I'm one of the student organizers for this event. I'd like to start by thanking Ms. Barrow for her tireless work to put this event together, as well as her endless support to Black History Month events at LCBI and in LDSB in general over the past 2 years that we've been working with her. You have such an inspiring drive for advocacy, and I really admire that. So thank you so much. I'd also like to thank Laddie Williams for her support organizing this event as well. And I'd also like to thank Jada, Malika, Nandi, and Miles, who are the other student leaders who worked alongside me to organize this event with Ms. Barrow. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Mr. James for his dedication and support to Black History Month over the past 3 years. Events like these highlight the importance of fostering safe and inclusive spaces for Black and racialized students in our board. I reflected on my experience last year organizing Black History Month events in an issue of Equity Matters, which is a weekly s'more that's sent out by Ms. McDonald, who's at the back. In the article, I wrote about the importance of teachers and staff taking initiative to incorporate Black history into the classroom, not only in February, but all year round. I think it's important to reiterate this statement as we head into semester 2 here at LC and in LDSB secondary schools, and we begin Black History Month. When I wrote in the issue, Black History Month had just ended, and I was a little underwhelmed with the amount of Black History Month content that I saw in my classrooms. And since then, not much has changed. Black History Month continues to be relegated to the shortest month of the year, and with little content of Black History Month being included into our classrooms. While it is always a joy to organize and execute these events with Ms. Farrow and Mr. James, it can be a little stressful to feel like our affinity group is carrying the full weight of that work, and making sure that everybody feels recognized and included, and not just focusing on Black people in general, but also expanding that to the broader racialized community as well. The support of and leadership of staff is critical in carrying that work forward. This event and events we have happening at the end of the month shouldn't be the only thing happening in our schools. It shouldn't be falling on the shoulders of racialized students to drive that agenda, and educate our peers and teachers and plan things for the school to do. Ultimately, the goal of Black History Month is to not have it exist at all, and for the full inclusion and recognition of Black History Month, or Black history, to be all year round. I'm incredibly hopeful about where we are headed as a board, and I have been in Kingston all my life and have seen so much change in the way that Black History Month is celebrated in our schools, yet there remains a lot of work to do. I hope that you all feel as hopeful and energized as I do about Black futures in Kingston. Thank you.
Let's give Sakai another round of applause. I believe she captured in her eloquent words exactly how some of us, well, I know I can only speak for myself, and I feel that Black history is not just for racialized Black people, but it's all of our history. It's important that we acknowledge that. And I hope, along with what Sakai said, that one day Black history is just going to be 365 years and it's going to be part of the curriculum. So I have the pleasure of introducing Tia Grocus, who will be a singer tonight. And Tia is a vocalist from Barrie, Ontario, with a musical background in classical music, theater, and has a solo training. Tia's passion for music transformed into her studying vocal performance at Tyndale University. However, during COVID, she started a business and discovered her passion for business and marketing. Tia hopes to inspire people of color through song, writing, and prompting Black businesses. So welcome, Tia. And back. So we're going to move on. Joys of a live event. So I would like to introduce Tiana Edwards. Tiana is currently working in the Division of Student Affairs at Queen's University as the EDI coordinator for Yellow House, Student Center for Equity and Inclusion, with a dotted line to the Human Rights and Equity Office. Tiana's role is focusing on the Scarborough chapter, aka Black Inclusion Initiative at Queen's. Also a graduate studies grad of Cultural Studies program, her master's project was a podcast called Kingston the Black. She founded and runs the blog Keep Up with Kingston that houses Kingston's Black-owned businesses. Welcome, Tiana.
Hello. I think I'm too short for this. See, like my forehead. Thanks for asking me to speak tonight, Andrea and Sakai. As mentioned, my name is Tiana Edwards, and I hold a few different hats. events. But one big thing I always say is I was born and raised in Kingston, so I am a townie, and that means I've seen Kingston come a really long way. So events like this and student advocacy work like this means a lot to me because I really think it starts in your community when it comes to these initiatives and this type of advocacy. Last year, Sakai actually asked me to speak on a panel, and I was just so like pumped to see so many students, Black students, in the room with each other. And that really is what I hope to continue to do at Kingston. To give a bit more context to myself, I'm literally on my tippy toes right now. I'm gonna take this on my tippy toes, and I'm wearing heels. So to give a bit more context of the blog, Keep Up with Kingston, I started many years ago when I moved back to Kingston, but it picked up in 2020 when I wrote about my own experience with racism in Kingston, and I wanted to take a bit of the attention off myself because I was getting a lot of like questions. And I was like, actually, this isn't about me, it's about Black folks coming together, and that's why I started the Black Owned Business List, which has been a really beautiful tool for Black folks in Kingston to find each other, and for non-Black folks in Kingston to find ways to support Black folks, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about supporting in a capitalist manner, and that means supporting with your money, not just likes on Instagram. So that's been really, really meaningful, and then that blossomed throughout my master's degree when I decided that, my story resonated with so many folks, and I got to do my podcast, Kingston the Black Experience, where I interview folks like Judy Brown. Judy Brown's in an episode, and it's the best intro ever because I just love Judy's voice so much. But it really gave a really important insight into how far we've come. That's my daughter yelling in the front. How far we've come and how much farther we have to go. And really putting together like this idea that Black folks are not a monolith. We have so many different types of experiences. I interviewed like young people and folks who have been here for a long time, and really to give that perspective of, we all have very different stories and we all show up in very different ways. So you can find Kingston Black Experience where you listen to podcasts. Especially this month, I think it's a really important time. I just really hope to continue with the Black Owned Business List. I was speaking to Dr. Elena Butler earlier, who reached out for a recent event, and she was able to tap into Martha from Peddleworks Cafe and then reach out to Jerky Bagel. I just love when folks reach out to me to be like, who can I support? Who's local and Black and wanting to be promoted? So I love doing that as my side hustle. And then on top of that, I work at Queen's, so I'm just trying to build a community for Black students. Amaya is a student I work with who's here and doing so much beautiful advocacy. So seeing all these students like Sakai and Amaya do this work gives me so much hope for my girls being engraved in the front for what their futures will look like. And then seeing Judith Brown here gives me just so much joy to think of all the work that she's done this year. So I didn't prepare anything. That was just my little spiel. It's really great to kind of stand up here and give a bit about myself. Thank you all for being here and being so enthusiastic about Black History and Futures Month. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiana. So we're going back to Tia, and she's going to sing with us, but I want to read her bio again. So Tia is a vocalist from Barrie, Ontario, with a musical background in classical music, theater, and solo training. Tia's passion for music transformed into her studying vocal performance at Tyndale University. However, during COVID, she started a business and discovered her passion for business and marketing. Tia hopes to inspire people of color through song, writing, and promoting Black businesses. Welcome, Tia.
I don't need you to love me. I got my sister. I can. She may not be here, but she's still mine. I know. She still loves me. Got my children. I can't hold them now. They may not be here, but they still mine. I hope they know I still love them. Got my house, it still keeps the cold down. Got my chair where my body can't hold down. Got my hands doing good like they supposed to. Showing my heart to those that I'm supposed to. Got my eyes so they don't see it's good now. They see what we really are. I'm gonna take a deep breath. Gonna hold my head up. Gonna put my shoulders back and look you straight in the eye. Just gonna with somebody when they want mine. I'm gonna sing it out. I believe I've been everything that I told you about. Talk it for every day. Give it both the easy and hard one. But most of all, I'm thankful for loving who I really am. I'm beautiful. Yes, I'm beautiful. Hey, I'm here.
What I took away from her lyrics and her words and her passion that stuck with me is that I'm beautiful and I'm here. That's a whole theme in itself. We are beautiful and we're here, and you know that. So thank you so much for sharing your beautiful words with us tonight. So I have the pleasure of introducing you to Dr. Alana Butler, who is an assistant professor in the Faculty of Education at Queen's University. In 2015, she graduated with a PhD in education from Cornell University. She joined Queen's University in 2017 and currently teaches in the Bachelor of Education program, as well as the Graduate Studies program. Her research interests include the academic achievement of low socioeconomic students, race and schooling, equity and inclusion, and multicultural education. She's currently the principal investigator on the 2019 Insight Development Grant for a study on post-secondary access for low-income youth. She's also the co-investigator on a number of projects funded by SSHRC, including a 2022 partnership grant, a Sub-Saharan African immigrants, a 2021 Partnership Engage grant on the academic outcomes and well-being of foster children, and a 2021 Partnership Engage grant on anti-oppressive, anti-racist pedagogy for secondary schools. Her scholarly work has been published in the Canadian Journal of Education, Gender and Education, and the Canadian Ethnic Studies. Let's give a warm welcome for Dr. Butler.
Thanks, Ophelia. It's nice to have you introduce me. I moved to Kingston in 2017, and I think Ophelia was one of the first people I met. Remember, Ophelia? It was a cafe. I think it was, remember, it was like Kingston Coffee, something like that. You were one of the very first people I met, so I moved from Toronto to come here. So first of all, I wanted to thank Andrea Barrow for all the amazing work that she's done. I want to say that there was an Ontario Equity Symposium, and I expressed that I am so proud of Limestone District School Board for all the work that you all are doing with your team, and it's just exciting to be here today at LCBI for this very important Black History Month. For the work that we do at Queen's University, we couldn't do it all without having institutional support. And I think that's why, as Andrea has stated, for Limestone, having the superintendent support, the principal support, it's so important for us to do this kind of work. At Queen's, I'm wonderfully supported, and I'm going to give you a shout out, looking right at her. Stephanie Simpson, who is our vice principal of everything, basically. I say everything, but it's culture, equity, and inclusion. So a round of applause for Stephanie. Joining Queen's University and doing the equity work that I've been able to do and the research, we can't do that without a foundation of human rights and equity that it needs to be all throughout the campus. So that's so important. I want to say that. So then I'm going to talk, I didn't prepare anything, so I just thought that I would just speak about how the importance of Black History Month in our faculty. So I'm in the Faculty of Education. And as Ophelia mentioned, I started in 2017. And one of the things that we have been working on is partnering with LDSB on equity. So James Suchatan, who's done amazing work, and I got to meet Sakai, I think, at some of the cultural affinity events, and it's just amazing to see that work taking place in Limestone and how important that is. So it's been a wonderful opportunity to come and speak to the students and engage with them, get their ideas, and think about how we can have more partnerships, because that's a very important thing, is to partner with the school board. So in terms of Black History Month is critically important. I'm going to talk about it from, first of all, resources. So in our faculty, we've been very fortunate that we have been able to develop some resources for teachers and educators. So I'm encouraging you all to take a look at Queen's website. We have some Black History Month resources. Quite recently, they were updated by Dr. Tracy Ann Johnson Myers, who's here, applause, and with her beautiful family, they're gorgeous. Right? And she's been helping. So that is something that we've been very privileged to be able to produce in our faculty is Black History resources for teachers.
In my work as well, I'm very privileged to be called to work in various schools at TDSB and also working with teachers. Teachers need these resources and it's really important from the standpoint of students. So my research, as Celia said when she was introducing me, a lot of my research focuses on Black youth engagement in school. And Black History Month is critically important, and I'm going to say, just as I said, Black History Month is important, but Black people are here all year. We're here for 12 months, so don't forget us, the other 12 months of the year. One of the key factors in my research on Black student engagement is students need to see themselves represented in the classroom. They need to see themselves represented in the curriculum, in the textbooks. So Black History Month is just one of those things, and definitely bringing that, extending that throughout the year is so important. But that's one of the key factors for students in order for them to succeed in the school is to see themselves represented. And they need to see themselves represented in the curriculum. And that's why Black History Month is so important. It is critically important for me. I myself, I think I learned a lot of Black history too late. We know most of the schools that there's some research that says a lot of the research on Black History Month tends to focus in the US. And so it's really important to think about what is our local history? What are some ways that we can engage in Black history locally? And that's why we have treasures here like Judith Brown, who's actually been in the community and doing that sort of work. Find out about the local Kingston community and what Black history we have here. There is a student, I don't remember, Lizzie Hines, I know, is a student, I know that is her name. She actually did a study, a master's degree, looking specifically at Kingston's Black history. And Dr. Catherine McKittrick was supervising that work. And it's just phenomenal work. So what I would encourage you to do if you're teaching, and even if you're just working with your, family, working with children, it's also important to look up local resources. So what is the local history in Kingston for Black history? Let's not just think about focusing on Martin Luther King and those sort of things. Let's look at what's happening locally. Look at local resources. So that's one of the things I'd like to encourage you and to look at. And I indicate that we have a lot of resources on the Queen's website. So please just look under the Queen's Faculty of Education and click on educational resources, and hopefully you can find resources to support the Black history. But as I mentioned, just to reiterate, I keep saying it and Sakai said it, it's all year round. Let's not make Black History Month just 1 month, let's make it all year round. So thank you very much.
So important that we have Dr. Butler's work because things as we know that it's true when as teachers and educators, Black students, we know that the importance of representation. And so thank you for continuing to do that work. So I would like to introduce you to some student singers who are going to come up here and just provide some song for us, Sakai, Mandy, and Jada.
Hi again. All right, so this song is called Can't Catch Me Now by Olivia Rodrigo, and we kind of heard this song and thought that there was an interesting duality to the meaning, and yeah. There's blood on the side of the mountain. There's writing all over the wall. Shadows of us are dancing in every room and every hall. There's snow flying over the city. You thought that it would wash away the bitter taste of my fury and all of the messes you made. Yeah, you think that you got away, but I'm in the trees, I'm in the breeze, my footsteps on the ground. You'll see my face in every place where you can't catch me now. Through waiting grass, the months will pass, you'll feel it all around. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere, but you can't catch me now. No, you can't catch me now. But you thought I'd never do it, thought it'd go over my head. I bet you figured I'd pass with the winter, be something easy to forget. You think I'm gone today, but I'm in the trees, I'm in the breeze, my footsteps on the ground. You'll see my face in every place, but you can't catch me now. Through waiting grass, the months will pass, you'll feel it all around. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere, but you can't catch me now. You can't catch me now. Ooh, 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 ooh. You can't catch me now. I'm coming like a storm into your town. You can't catch me now. I'm higher than the hopes that you brought down. You can't catch me now. I'm coming like a storm into your town. You can't catch me now. I'm higher than the hopes that you brought down. You can't catch me now. I'm coming like a storm into your town. You can't catch me now. You can't. There's blood on the side of the mountain. It's turning a new shade of red. Yes, sometimes the fire you found it don't burn the way you'd expect. Yeah, you thought that this was the end.
Let's give them another round of applause. Our future with these leaders is so bright. As they said, we won't be able to catch up to them. Isn't that a wonderful thing? So I have the pleasure of introducing Lavi Williams and Jermaine Marshall. Lavi Williams is the Associate Director in Human Rights Advisory Service. After earning her Bachelor of Science from Queen's and then a Master of Arts in Human Rights from the University of Sussex, Lavi joined the office as the Inclusion and Anti-Racism Advisor in 2018. Lavi brings her passion for an experience with anti-racism and anti-oppression, work to contribute directly to developing, implementing, and monitoring institutional inclusion and anti-oppression. Lavi is a central point of contact for individuals and units who wish to access all related anti-oppression and anti-racism initiatives, processes, and services needs. Jermaine Marshall, after graduating with a Bachelor of Laws degree from the University of the West Indies and a Master of Arts in Social Justice and Equity Studies, Jermaine Marshall joined the HRE office in 2021 as the Inclusion and Anti-Racism Advisor. Jermaine is a central point of contact for individuals and units who wish to access all related anti-oppression and anti-racism initiatives, processes, and services at Queen's. As an advisor, Jermaine pulls from years of academic and professional experience in order to facilitate an intersectional approach to addressing issues of racism, discrimination, and oppression. Let's give them a warm up welcome.
Hi everyone, happy Black History Month. I'm glad that I wore my heels because I'm working behind as Jermaine now. So lovely to see everyone in the crowd. I myself did not prepare anything, but I think that you all showing up here says a lot, and says really what we were hoping to encapsulate today, and hopefully what everyone will experience going out through the month of February and beyond. Got that note, Alana? Where are you? There you are. And so, yeah, I think, with what the students are talking about, and especially with the t-shirts, so please buy your t-shirts to support, Black History Month 365 or Black Histories 365. It's really important to denote that and think about that beyond just February, and also thinking about this idea of futures. And I just wanted to read just quickly from the Movement for Black Lives, who talk about celebrating Black Futures Month rather than Black History, and what and why they do that. And so it says that Black Futures Month is a visionary, forward-looking spin on the celebrations of Blackness in February, a time to consider and celebrate a radical Black history, and to dream and imagine a world in which all Black people are free. And so with that, in community, we decided that it would be really important to honor both of those things in terms of the history, radical Black history, histories and futures. And so we have a global calendar, that's the QR code on the screens on either side of us, that link to all of the events, or most of the events that are going to be going on throughout February, March, and April in Kingston. Open to many different audiences for you to take part in this year.
Before I say more about this calendar, before you look at the calendar, because I want to say a few things. I loved the introduction that Ophelia gave, but as the song was echoing in my mind, I'm in the leaves of the trees, you can catch me now. I'm here, the arts that the students are performing. I just also wanted to share that, it's really important as well to be connected to community, to music, to song, to dance, to the art. Part of Black history, Black futures is also Black joy, Black experience, Black sharing. I myself came to Kingston from St. Catharines, the city of St. Catharines by Niagara, where I also was a performer. I came from Jamaica, where I grew up performing in the church. And, I found that music and, communal music and gatherings is really important. And so in this calendar, this wonderful, wonderful calendar that Lavi, myself, and so many other community folks have really come together to populate, you got everything. We got art galleries, we've got film nights, we've got reggae nights, we've got Afrobeats dance nights, we've got drag queen performances, Canada Drag Race winners. We got greens, beans, potatoes, and butt. We have just about everything that your heart could desire for this month, because people are always like, oh, there's nothing going on in Kingston. Like, no, not for this month, not for this month. Now, I will give the caveat that some of these events are 19 plus. I apologize to the LCBI students, but not all of them. There are quite a few that are open to the general populace. We have some great things going on at our very own Pedal Works. Over there in the corner, Martha, I see you. We have some game nights. We have some storytelling nights. We have some, what's one that's coming up this week? Lavi, you'll be the moderator for that. Is that the Jeopardy, the trivia, prizes and surprises. So really, that calendar, it's going to be your most visited page. I need you to bookmark it. I need you to share it with your friends, with your enemies that you want to make into friends, because you have no enemies, guys. It's a month of love and reconciliation, but we look forward to seeing all these faces again at some of these events. Have a good time, have a great time together.
Also wanted to give, thank you, Jermaine, that was great. I also wanted to give a shout out and some time. I know we'll do a ceremony as cake cutting, but this is a cake special for the opening of Black Histories and Futures Month this year. And it's baked, it's called Baked, let me figure out the name. I know the person's name. She's a student at Queens. Her name is Oyinda. And she is doing some Valentine's packages. And it's called Baked by Honey. And so if you can see, it is supposed to encapsulate all of what Jermaine said, the sparkles, the celestial nature of it all. It looks good. Okay, well, thank you very much for your attention and see you when we mingle.
I love that we have choices. When I first came to Kingston, I didn't even know there was a Black History Month celebration. So now we have choices and events, we can decide. We have it for families. I think that's absolutely wonderful. I have the honor of introducing Alejandro Aruz from Hoopla Press and Queen's University. Alejandro is an can't speak today, is an artist exploring issues of identity, dysphoria, and transformation through the vernacular of print media, performance, and video. Digital applications allow Alejandro to create the bridges between mediums to expand on the lineage of his imagery. Alejandro is particularly interested in Latin America dysphoria within Canada and the US. Alejandro earned his honors BFA from the University of Windsor in Canada and an MFA degree from Louisiana State University. Welcome, Alejandro.
Thank you so much. I just want to take a few moments to thank the students and Andrea and the school for allowing me to roll my press into your facilities. It's a press on wheels. And I also wanted to acknowledge my collaborator, which is Anita Lila. She's a curator at Agnes Etherington Art Center, who without her, it would not have flourished into what it is. So the project is called TKS, Tracing Kingston's Solidarity, which looks at the history of Black entrepreneurial individuals in Kingston. So there is a flyer that has all of the stories of the individuals that we went into archives with. So the idea here is that how do we mobilize archives? You know, it's usually a place for the privileged. It's usually something you have to pay money into. So here, we wanted to mobilize knowledge, and what better tool than what I feel I am an expert in, print. So as a person of color, having been educated in Canada and in the US, I completely agree that there's underrepresentation across the board, both in high school, in college, universities. So as an instructor, I have made it a priority to not always show Eurocentric art histories, practices, to be inclusive of other practices that are dealing with more socially engaged topics. So it's not always about painting, printing pretty pictures. Pretty pictures are fine, but socially engaged works are better. So the printing press itself is a tool for revolutions. It speaks the language of revolutions. It's what has been used throughout histories for revolutions. It's also a machine that helped disseminate knowledge. So it took it from the rich, the clergy, and it allowed knowledge to be interpreted by individuals. So the project itself is partly that, right? So I wanted to also make you aware to please follow on Instagram, Hoopla Press 2021, because this is only the first movement. So the first movement is an ongoing project of gathering knowledge. So the initial plates here have grown because it's not about visiting the archives once, it's about living in the archives. It's about finding new information as you revisit information. So that's why I like the idea and the metaphor and the symbolisms of print, in that you always are printing and revisiting and doing again. So with that, this first movement is part of an ongoing process of creating an avenue, an experience of taking archival images into the masses. Okay, so please participate, take a shirt, because you complete the artwork by wearing it. So you become a publisher, you wear it, you embody the shirt, and then hopefully you disseminate. So if you look at the plates, there are addresses of the individuals in Kingston. So it was important for us to give a location of the individuals where they lived, where they had the entrepreneurial locations. I myself, I run La Presse as a person of color here in Kingston. It has been difficult to break or make a space for the other, right? So the second movement is what I really am excited to share with you. So the second movement requires a community. So in this movement, I invite you to participate, which there'll be a call for participants in about 3 weeks, where we are asking individuals to go through their archives. That might be photo albums, attics, bring out histories of resistance, of acts of courage, like an individual opening a business or something that is usually hidden in your history. So have an eye out for that other movement. We really would like to take the exercise of looking at archives and make it grander into a larger narrative. And then there is also a third movement, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So those participating in the second movement, we are creating 4 compositions that will be laser engraved like the plates on 4-foot by 8-foot blocks that then, as a community, we will ink up and use a steamroller to create very large prints that will have these histories. Okay? So please keep an eye out for those 2 movements, participate in looking at archives and making it accessible to the public.
Black History Month is not just about the history of the past, but it's a history of the present, it's a history of the future. And it's so important that we know about our past. And I just remember I came to Canada when I was 6, so I was educated here. And most of my knowledge about Black history was intentionally, I had to go searching for it. Because the little bit that I learned in school was just that we were slaves and we came here and we were free and there was nothing else. So I thank all of this research, and I really am so proud of all of you just doing the work and continue, but really resisting in joy. It's just so joyful to be here tonight. And I'm going to call back up Andrea to do the closing remarks.
So once again, I want to thank Trustee Brown for all the hard work that you've done in the past. And then you can see in terms of the students moving forward, the work that they've done and the performances and the different presenters today as well. I want to take a moment to recognize the vendors that we have in our space. So after we're done here, please take some time and wander through and visit different vendors. We've, like Alejandro mentioned, we do have the t-shirts back there printing, those are for free. And then the t-shirts over here, the students worked with Alejandro over the past couple of months. So he came into LCBI, he worked with our Black and racialized students, explained the history behind the different plates and the inking process. And they created this shirt that we brought forward today. So they are available here as well. And any money raised for those shirts will go back into the LBCI BIPOC group for future events as well. I'm going to call Jermaine up here real quick as well, because you had one more event you want to mention. And while you're on your way up, for the educators in the room, keep in mind that we do have the collective connection that goes out each week. And within that, there is a Black history resources are listed there. And I recognize that Tanisha Duncan is here. Tanisha Duncan was a former student at LDSB 2 years ago and started a lot of these different activities that are continuing today. So I'm happy to see that you're here, partaking in the festivities and the ceremonies, and seeing that what she started with the Black Hair event and has expanded on to Black Hair, Black Panel. This will be year number 3 for that event. She started back during COVID as well. So thank you. So Jermaine, and Rodney as well for bringing finish up with the cake.
So I am so sorry. With all the events that I was thinking about, I forgot to highlight there are 2 discounted pieces that I wanted to share. This week, Friday, the Kingston Grand Theater has partnered with the Black Hawk Collective and Queen's University to put on a opening reception at 5:30. There will be food, there will be catered by Ella's Cuisine and Sally's Roti. There'll be a chance to connect with folks from St. Lawrence College, Queen's University, the different school districts, the Black community, but also allies are welcome as well to this event. So it's both a Black community and ally event. I'll be sharing the information with Andrea so she can also circulate it to those who are here today, but also the students here who may be interested in attending, as well as discounted tickets for the show that will be happening after the opening reception, featuring Tynomi Banks, the Canadian Drag Race performer, doing music, dancing, choir, just the whole works in the Kingston Grand Theater's Rosen Auditorium. They've been kind enough to give us some discounted tickets. So if you're interested in that show, please do reach out to Andrea, members of LCBI. Additionally, the Reloud Kingston's 25th film anniversary is this month from February the 1st to the 11th. And they have also been very kind to provide some discounted tickets to our communities for those who are interested in attending some of those film screenings. There's one happening actually today right after this at around 6 to 7:30, but the discount code works for all of their film screenings this month for a limited number of tickets, which again, I'll send the information to Andrea.
Okay, we're gonna cut the cake, so come on. We're trying to think of something that would be really cool and something to mark the occasion, and we thought of who doesn't love cake? Let me cake. So they're gonna cut the cake. Maybe you can do it all together. Yeah, one hand on it. And I don't have a sound effect, so go ahead. Yeah, okay, yes. So there is cake at the back for everyone to enjoy, and food and stations and each other. So thank you so much for coming. Happy Black History Month!